Okay, so I just finished today's run. They're reasonably comfortable, 10k, despite what my face sort of says. So yeah, that's June done. So now I've just got to run home and then reflect on how the month went. Okay, so June's going to go down as quite an eventful month, really. There was the high point of reaching the 500 kilometre mark a few weeks back. Then there was also the low point of when Jenny was in hospital for a week with eczema herpeticum and cellulitis. But I ran in 4 races, even had a couple of races cancelled for a few reasons which I'll get into shortly, and I managed to add another 90 plus kilometres to my total. So I started the month on the 2nd of June with the Woodhall Spa 10k, or so before. Because I entered quite late, I had to collect my number on the day. But then when I got there, I was held up in traffic and found that they'd sold my number onto someone else, so I wasn't able to enter the race. Well, they did offer me to run the sort of fun run or something, which I turned down. So instead I just came home, and once I stopped sulking, I just went up for my own solo run instead. Okay, so the next race in June was the Notts 10 mile road race on the 9th, which was a Friday evening. The race took place around Home Pierpoint, which would have made for quite a nice scenic run had it not been about mid-20 degrees and the sweat being in my eyes. I mean, as I mentioned, it was very, very hot, so I mean, realistically I should have taken the race quite steady. But Jenny was at work, so I was kind of half aware at the time of the fact that I'd have to get back to pick her up. So I sort of ran it as hard as I could, just to basically get home as quick as I could. But the result ended up with being faces like this, and then about halfway round I threw up. So I probably did run a bit too hard, but it was quite a nice race. It's probably one I might do again, really, just because it's reasonably flat and reasonably close. I've got a t-shirt from it with a strange joke, I guess. I also managed to get a bottle of beer as part of the sort of race memento set, which is nice, but I don't drink, so it's nothing really more than an ornament for me at the moment. So the Notts 10 mile road race left me just about 4 kilometres short of the 500 mark. So on the Sunday I had every intention of running the Humber Bridge 10k to sort of reach this milestone. But when I got home on the Friday, Jenny had sort of started complaining about an itchy eye. And then when we woke up on Saturday, we realised there was potentially some kind of infection there. We went to hospital and it sort of confirmed that it was eczema herpeticum, which she'd had 6 times before. So she got the required medication, came home. But as the evening wore on, it got far, far worse. It was just continuing to spread and the medication wasn't touching it really. So I had to cancel the race on Sunday and go back into hospital, where Jenny was admitted and then remained until the Friday. I'll add some links in the description which should explain exactly what happened for the week that Jenny was in hospital and give a little bit more background into the infection that she had. I wouldn't have to wait long until I got another attempt at reaching the 500 kilometre milestone though. On the 16th of June I had the Three Lakes Classic, which is a 15 mile race around Rother Valley and a couple of nearby lakes. It was one of the cheapest races I think I've probably entered this year. I think it was only about £7 per entry, so that was good. The race itself was quite a nice challenging one. There was talk of a couple of significant hills at various points, which they were worth warning about, I'll say. But yeah, I mean the main thing about the race was the vast cake selection at the end, which was nice. It's almost as if they knew that I was celebrating. But yeah, I think my mind was kind of elsewhere with this one, obviously, because Jenny had only just got out of hospital. But it was a good race, and gave me a nice little mug mean, following on from the Three Lakes Classic and the 500 kilometre milestone, kind of kept the momentum going the following week with another 2 races, both 10Ks. There's a Summer Solstice 10K and the Underwood 10K. Summer Solstice 10K was on the Friday evening, and it bared quite a few similarities with the Nottingham 10 mile road race that I've run earlier in the month, namely with just the heat and how tired I was going into the race. I kind of thought that it was a nice flat race, so I thought, I could take advantage and try and set a decent time, but almost instantly, as soon as I started running, the heat just got to me and energy just drained straight away. There's another race where I got another bottle of beer, which again is going to remain untouched, but it's nice. It's something different, at least, I guess. And then on the Sunday, I ran the Underwood 10K. I think it's a fundraiser for the local school. I ran that one about 30 seconds faster, I think it was, despite it being a significantly tougher route. There's quite a few hills on that one, but it was also pouring down with rain and about 5-6 degrees colder than probably more than that actually, probably about 10 degrees in truth colder than the Summer Solstice 10K. So it's a much easier run with regards to that. I mean, hills I don't struggle with that too much, but heat can just zap my energy straight away. So the Underwood 10K was quite a good race. Again, a reasonably cheap one. It was sort of just near Nottingham, I think, so it was not really distance to travel for that one. Finally, on the 30th of June, I'd originally planned to run the Humber Bridge Half Marathon, but it's one I'd kind of been holding off signing up on, mainly just because keeping half an eye on Jenny's health and whether I could travel on this weekend following her coming out of hospital. And then as we rested a little bit recently, I kind of decided not to, just in case she needs me here. It sounds like there is, but there's nothing about Hull that I don't want to travel to. It just seems that for whatever reason there's a reason for me not to run a race there. So yeah, I mean, today instead I just ran a simple, reasonably comfortable 10K, just to sort of get this race in. So yeah, that's June. Next month, I've already signed up for a few races. I've got the Rother Valley 10K and Sheffield Men of Steel race, both on the same day. One of them takes place in the morning, one of them takes place in the afternoon, so that could be quite a tiring day. And then the following weekend, I've got the Heckington Show race, which I think is 10 miles, I'm not sure. I still need to make a couple of decisions on the other races. There's one next weekend, which I'm not sure whether I'm entering or not, and then there's also a potential 12.12 trail race across the Peak District. But the website's quite a bit fear-mongering with saying that, you need compasses and maps, you need experience, otherwise you will die kind of job. So, yeah, I need to sort of check on the reality of that one. And tomorrow I am on BBC Lincolnshire for another interview, just to catch up with how the year's gone so far. But for now, I think I'm going to go lie down.